Welcome. You are in the lab room. I'm your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me. Week number 14, National Football League. Jets hosting the Raiders. This game for me was one that I thought the Raiders should win. I did not expect the Jets to be able to beat the Oakland Raiders. I looked at this Jets team a week ago against the Dolphins and I said, I don't know if this team wins another game. I mean, they looked that bad a week ago. They pulled quarterback Geno Smith at halftime in favor of Matt Sims, and they just looked lost, did the Jets. And then all of a sudden, the Raiders come to town, and they play at a level that they haven't played in probably a month or so. I mean, Geno Smith looked sharp. They were able to run the football with a little bit of success. They forced a couple of turnovers in this game. Now, I will say that they were gashed in the run game with the Jets, something that they really haven't been all year long. They've been one of the best teams in all of football against the run. But let's break this game down quickly. Rich Gannon was incensed. He was livid that the Raiders would have the yo-yo thing going on with Matt McGloin and Terrell Pryor. And Dennis Allen had already said that he wanted to see Terrell Pryor in the game. He wanted to evaluate him some more and that he's going to continue to do that down the stretch. And so it should not have come as a surprise to Rich Gannon that it happened during this game. But I understand where Rich Gannon is coming from. If you're the Raiders and you're going to probably have a top 7 pick in this draft, if not top 7, definitely top 10, you need to figure out, and this is what it's all about for teams that are bad, that do not have a stable quarterback position. You need to figure out, do you have a guy on the roster that you want to invest time and maybe even resources into? If you're the Texans, you need to find out now if Case Keenum is the guy or not. And so you can't have a coach that stands in the way of that. That's why they had to get rid of Gary Kubiak, because he was standing in the way of them figuring out if Case Keenum is the guy or not. Same thing here. If you're Dennis Allen, you need to figure out if, in fact, Matthew McGloin is that guy or not. And in his mind, he wants to know if that guy is Matthew McGloin or Terrell Pryor. Because let's not forget, just 7 weeks ago, everyone was saying, hey, the Raiders may have something here in Terrell Pryor. He gets injured, a couple of spotty games where his play was very inconsistent. Matthew McGloin comes in, wows us against the Texans, follows that up with a subpar performance against the Tennessee Titans and now against the Jets. And you're wondering, is this guy... And look, I thought he played well against the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. And I thought he played well enough to win that football game. Now, the second half, not as good as the first, but I keep wanting to see more with Matthew McGloin, as most Raiders fans do. And you need to find out if he is, in fact, the guy. And I think Terrell Pryor, for many of us who watch this Raiders team from afar, I can't speak for Raiders fans. From someone like myself who watches this Raiders team from afar, I don't think he's the guy. I don't think that you can win in this league with a guy like Terrell Pryor because he's not consistent enough from the pocket. He's going to scramble around. He's going to do some things, but he's going to make too many mistakes. He's not going to be accurate enough from the pocket. There's just not enough there that lends itself for you to feel like, hey, I don't need a quarterback. I have Terrell Pryor. But with McGloin, I'm not sure. I see a lot of the things that can make this guy a solid starter in this league now. Again, is he a game changer? Is he a guy that can win you football games? I'm not sure about that, but I need to see more. That's why guys like Rich Gannon want to see him down the stretch. Unabated, unimpeded, not being taken in and put back into the game and taken out and yada, yada, yada. Just want to see him in the game, see him play, and see what he can do. And so, and I was a little disappointed to see Terrell Pryor in there run around. And his drive did result in a field goal. But again, a lot of that drive was Marcel Reese and running the football. But from the Jets' perspective in this game, they were able to run the football. Geno Smith was the difference. Again, in this league, if you don't have a quarterback, you don't have a chance. And in this game, he wasn't Geno. Oh, Geno. Oh, no. He wasn't that guy. He's been that guy for the last month or so. But in this game, he was Geno. Oh, Geno. Oh, he was Geno Smith. He was the guy that you drafted with a relatively high pick in last year's draft that you had huge expectations for. The guy that you drafted with the second rounder and expected him to play with first round expectations. And he was on point. And I think something that people are overlooking is the value and the importance of Jeremy Curley being in this lineup. I think this offense is better when Jeremy Curley is in the lineup. They gave us a fascinating stat, one that I thought was fascinating. Other people might not think it's fascinating, but this team is 0-4 without Jeremy Curley in the lineup. Now, again, what does that mean? Absolutely nothing. What it does say, though, what it does speak to is that Jeremy Curley makes a difference. When he's not on the field, this team struggles offensively. Look, they don't have a lot of talent offensively. There's not a lot of weapons at the wide receiver position. So if you take one of their most explosive weapons away in Jeremy Curley, one of their most consistent weapons away, it makes a huge difference. He made plays in this football game, the touchdown where he climbs the ladder around about 3 Oakland Raider defenders to go up and get the football. That's a big play. I mean, that helps Geno Smith and his confidence in this football game. Geno Smith was willing to run out of the pocket. He didn't make a lot of mistakes in this game. The run game did help them as well. The Jets played well in this game, but the Raiders, this was disappointing on so many different levels. You waste a Herculean effort from Marcel Reese. That's number one. I mean, the big run that he had, he accelerates away from the defenders. I looked at Marcel Reese and I said, Marcel, you sure you're not over there running a 4-4, buddy? The way he exploded and accelerated away from the rest of the defense, I didn't see that one coming. And he goes well over 100 yards in this game against a team that doesn't give it up on the ground. You're wasting a huge effort and a huge day by Marcel Reese. You pull Matt McGloin out of the game, you put him back in, and on the first possession that you put him back in the game after you take him out, he throws an interception that cost you 3 points. And it's things like that. And the Raiders, I felt like, would be able to get pressure on Geno Smith and force him into some mistakes. They just didn't. They didn't force Geno Smith into mistakes. They didn't get enough pressure on him in this game. They didn't stop the run and make Geno Smith beat them. This was his best game since Atlanta. And it's disappointing because this Jets team hasn't been able to bust a grape of late. I mean, they've been barely scratching the surface in terms of scoring points. And you give up 37 points in this game. Unbelievable. Turnovers and the offensive output of the Jets, and it was just disappointing for the Raiders. Huge game for the Jets. I mean, they scored 37 points. Geno Smith didn't look half bad. This defense stepped up, made some plays. Look, the Raiders still scored 27 points. The Raiders still ran the football effectively. But if you're the Jets, if you can get some kind of output from your offense, you feel good about your chances every week because this defense is a really solid defensive unit. So Jets get the win, and they go to 6-7. They hang around in this playoff race, and honestly, I don't know why they're still around. They should be done in this AFC playoff wildcard race, but they're still around, and it really irks me because you know what would be the worst case scenario? And this isn't going to happen. I'm not worried about them making the postseason, but you know what would be a really bad scenario is if this Jets team snuck in the back door because they're really not a good football team. But I know this isn't going to happen because the Ravens are going to continue to play solid football. I think the Chargers and the Dolphins are the only other teams that could seriously make the postseason as the number 6 seed in the AFC conference. But this Jets team is hanging around. And I don't know how. Don't ask me. I don't know how it's happening. But they're 6-7. And they're still around in the AFC playoff race. Meanwhile, the Raiders, they dropped to 4-8 on the season, 4-9 on the season. And look, if you're the Oakland Raiders, you have opportunities to beat teams like this on the road, make a statement, do it. I mean, this Jets team isn't all that good, but then again, neither are you. And so that's what you saw in this game, a Raiders team that's still struggling to find their identity. They don't know what quarterback they want to put in the game. I like what I saw from Marcel Reese. I'm starting to really like Rod Streeter. I think he's growing on me. I'm not a big Rod Streeter fan, but he's growing on me. He's continuing to make plays each and every single week. Is he a number one receiver? No. But can he be a viable number two? Yeah, sure. Get a number one, put Rod Streeter at two, find yourself a solid slot receiver, and you might have something offensively, because I really like Rivera at tight end, and you got to find some kind of balance at the running back position, because you need a guy with some speed. Jennings, despite that run against the Texans, doesn't possess speed. Neither does Marcel Reese. He's really a fullback, but he might be the best running back you got on your roster right now in Oakland. But seriously, all jokes aside, the Raiders need to figure out if they have the quarterback of the future on their roster, or else they need to invest a first-round pick in a quarterback. And I think ultimately that's what they need to do. I think Matthew McGloin is a solid backup in this league, and you need to go out and find your franchise QB in the 2014 NFL Draft. But Dennis Allen has said he wants to continue to evaluate both Pryor and McGloin, so we'll see, I guess, these guys yo-yoing in and out as these final three games unfold. But Raiders don't get it done on the road against the Jets. Jets step up, and I thought the Jets were done. I didn't pick them to win this game, and I guess I had the wrong week. I should have picked the Dolphins to beat the Jets last week and picked the Jets this week. I just felt like at home the Jets would play better. Geno Smith would play better. Last week they didn't. This week they do, and they get the win 37-27. And they're still around. Again, I don't know how, but this Jets team is hanging around in that AFC wildcard race. So that's going to do it for me here on this installment of In the Lab Room. I thank you for joining me. That happens in the National Football League. Whether big or small, we cover it all here in the Lab Room. Thank you for joining me. I've got plenty more games in week number 14, the best week by far of 2013 this season. I've got plenty more games to break down. So come back and join me as I continue to break down week number 14, a.k.a. Survivor Sunday in the National Football League.